Hi, I'm Mark from eReplacementParts.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how to fix an Edger carburetor. Most hard starting or poor running issues with your Edger can be attributed to the carburetor. This is usually caused by dirt or other debris blocking the passages inside the carburetor. Also, over the last several years, fuel manufacturers have been adding more and more ethanol to our gasolines. The ethanol, when it sits in a carburetor for an extended period of time, such as over the winter, will tend to form an acid. This acid leads to corrosion and other gumming up inside of the carburetor. Fortunately, these are easy problems to fix, and we're going to show you how to do it in this video. We'll get started by removing the carburetor from the Edger. In this case, I'm working on a Makita Edger, but these steps will be similar on pretty much any make or model. With the air filter cover removed, now I can remove the air filter and the air filter base. Next, remove the fuel lines. I'll clamp the fuel lines off so we don't get any spillage. Then I'll use a screwdriver to remove the lines. And now I'll remove the throttle linkage. Now that I've removed the carburetor, we can concentrate on cleaning the carburetor and installing a rebuild kit. In some cases, the manufacturer of the Edger will provide the rebuild kit for the carburetor. But sometimes you'll have to find the manufacturer of the carburetor and use that to look up the proper rebuild kit. In this case, the carburetor is a Walbro WYL27. So I punched that into the parts finder on the eReplacement Parts website and found the proper rebuild kit for this carburetor. We're going to look at two different methods to clean the carburetor. First, we'll take a look at using carburetor cleaner, and second, an ultrasonic cleaner. Regardless of which method you decide to use, never stick anything metal into any of the carburetor's tiny passages. This will damage them. It is okay to use something soft, however, such as fishing line. Whether you decide to use carburetor cleaner to clean the internal parts of the carburetor or an ultrasonic cleaner, you'll want to remove all the dirt from the outside of the carburetor first, so we don't just transfer it to the inside when we take it apart. And I will use carburetor cleaner to do that. With the dirt removed from the outside of the carburetor, now I can go ahead and disassemble the carburetor. As I take the carburetor apart, I like to lay each of the parts out in the order that I removed them. It just makes it easier when you go to put everything back together to get it in the right order. I've removed the diaphragm and diaphragm gasket. Now we have access to the metering needle. It's held in place with a small screw. As you remove this, you want to be careful to keep some tension on the metering level, as there's a spring underneath it. On one side of the metering base, you'll find the inlet filter screen. I'm going to use a little pick to remove that. On the underside of the carburetor body, you'll find the jet, and again I'll use a pick to remove that, and also the O-ring. And now I can remove the throttle body from the carburetor body. With the carburetor disassembled, now we can move on to cleaning the internal parts and passages on the carburetor. First, we'll take a look at using carb cleaner. With this method, I want to spray the carb cleaner through all the internal passages on the carburetor. And remember, never stick anything metal inside any of these passages, as you will ruin the carburetor. Now we'll take a look at using an ultrasonic cleaner. The ultrasonic is my preferred method to clean carburetors. Ultrasonics use just hot water and some detergent. In this case, I'm just using dishwashing soap. The ultrasonic does a better job of cleaning the tiny internal passages inside the carburetor. An ultrasonic cleaner like this can be picked up at a discount tool store for under $100. My ultrasonic cleaner has a heating function, which heats up the water inside the tank. The heated water will clean better than cold water. I've had it heating now for about half an hour, so it's good and hot. To begin cleaning, I just drop the pieces into the cleaner, set the amount of time I want to clean for, and turn it on. Now that the parts have cleaned in the ultrasonic cleaner, I'll pull them out of the cleaning solution and spray them off with some compressed air. Even if you're using an ultrasonic cleaner, there's still a couple of the tiny internal parts I like to use carburetor to clean. That would be the jet and the metering needle. Now I'm going to dump out the components of our carburetor rebuild kit. The first thing you'll notice is that there's many more parts in here than you took out of the carburetor. And that's normal. These rebuild kits are set up to do many different models of carburetor kit. So what I like to do is just go through the kit and find the parts that match the ones that I need to replace. I'll just match them up and then replace the old part on my cloth for the new part. Now I have everything cleaned and I have all my new parts laid out from the rebuild kit. I'll begin reassembly. I'm going to start with the main jet. I'll place the O-ring onto the jet and then press this assembly back into the carburetor body. Now I'm going to place the new inlet filter screen into the metering base. And a tip I like to use here is I found that the end of a Sharpie marker is the perfect diameter to press that filter screen into the base. Now I'll replace the metering needle assembly. I'll take the metering needle lever, insert the hinge pin into it. I'll rest the needle on the lever and place the spring into the metering base. Now I can set the needle assembly back into the base. And secure it with the screw. Now we'll replace the reed valves and the reed valve gasket. The gasket goes against the carburetor body first, followed by the reed valves. Now I can replace the metering base, and next comes the diaphragm. First the diaphragm gasket, and then the diaphragm on top of the gasket. Now reinstall the base plate and secure everything with the screws. And now install the throttle body. You'll notice that the throttle body can usually be installed in a couple of different directions. You'll need to look at your particular Edger to get this lined up the right way. Once aligned, you can secure it with the screws. Now I'll install our cleaned and rebuilt carburetor back onto the Edger, starting with the throttle linkage. Next comes the fuel lines. And now I'll reinstall the air filter base and secure the carburetor. And I'll finish up by reinstalling the air filter and the air filter cover. And that's all it takes to fix an Edger carburetor. As you can see, this is an easy repair that you can do yourself. Doing this repair yourself will save you a lot of money versus taking it to a repair shop, and a lot of time waiting to get it back from the repair shop. We hope you found this video helpful. Please feel free to leave a comment or ask us a question.